Welcome to this video. Today we're looking at the Ridgit automatic pipe threading machine. Very useful machine to have around the workshop, especially if you've got a lot of pipe work to do. Makes it a lot easier than using the hand ratchet type of threaders. Just looking at it here, looking at it from the rear, that's the centering chuck that just helps to support the work as it sticks out the back of the machine. So you feed it in from the rear there and then just tighten up that self-centering chuck onto that. Now we have a look at the front of it, or front on. We just position the pipe to where we want it, coming through from the rear. And then this chuck has got a large slamming collar on it. So you just knock that into position and that holds the pipe nice and steady for you. Also, it's got a foot pedal, which is very handy. You just put that on the floor. You can use your foot just to stand on that when you want to start it and stop it. What we're looking at there is it's got a coolant pipe on it. It's got the carriage there with the handle that just brings the dies along. That's a pipe cutter, which can be brought into place to trim off the pipe should we wish to. And also there on the end, we've got a deburring tool. And that can be brought over and into play to put up into the center of the pipe and knock off any burrs that are caused through machining or from the pipe cutter there if we use that. We start the machine up. We bring the lever over just to close the die box in, bring the dies into the right size. Just feed it along. The dies will pick up and thread themselves onto the end of the pipe as they go, so you won't need much pressure on there, just a little bit to get it started. When you reach the end, give it a full die, then flick that lever on the top up, and that opens the die box, and then just wind them back out again. Wind the dies out clear of it. Just bring the deburring tool over, put your foot on the pedal and switch it on again, and then just run the deburr up into the end of the pipe, and that cleans it up and leaves a very nice chamfer just on the inside edge of it. If we want to, just going to show you how we use that. We can bring the pipe cutter into play. Just wind put it to the position where you want to trim the pipe off. Just wind the handle in and just keep slowly putting a bit of feed or a bit of pressure onto it until the cutters go all the way through and the end of the pipe will just drop off down into the bottom tray there. You can see that that's what's happened. Just pick that up and there you have the pipe trimmed off. And also if we look in the end of it, it's got a good chamfer in there too. It's important, of course, when we're doing pipe work to make sure that we clean out all of the pipe before we put it into the installation, especially in pressure situations, so hydraulic lines and pneumatic lines and so on. It's important to be cleaned out, thoroughly cleaned out before they go into use. Here we're looking at the machine now just from a different view. The pipe's coming through. We just slam that outer ring up and that locks the pipe into position. You can see the numbers on the die head there too. When you're fitting new dies to it, they've got to go in a numeric rotation. And that lever that was just pulled over locks the dies into the right place and position where they're fixed. There is an adjustment on there where that lever is too, just on the top of the die box. And we just feed it on. You can see it cutting along the end of the pipe. It does a very nice job. Bring it along till you get a full die on it. Just lifting up the deburring tool there. Just repositioning it so that it does go into the end of the pipe. Just bringing the pipe out a little bit, extending it a little bit more. Now we're feeding lock the deburring tool in there. It's got a couple of grooves where a locating pin or disc goes into just to hold it in position. And that's the pipe bird, and that's the pipe cutting tool coming over into position now. We start it up and screw that in, and we can trim off the pipe from that end. So very handy tool to have around the workshop if a lot of pipe work is being done. The pipe that we're doing at the minute is half-inch galvanized pipe with a BSP thread on it, a BSPT, which is a pretty standard pipe thread, and the T stands for tapered, so it's got tapered ends on it.